This is Professor Pete Alexander with the Winning at Business and Life podcast, where business leaders share their insights. It is 6 questions in 7 minutes because successful business leaders are busy and rarely have more time to spare. So let's get to it. Question number 1. In a few sentences, tell me who you are and what you do.
Hi, I'm Tom Gledhill, Pete, and it's a pleasure to be here. And I am a former business owner, owned several businesses and sold them all. And I'm also a former business broker. And right now I am trying to help other business owners make their company more valuable, increase the money that they make, and make their company more saleable. When I learned in business brokerage that only 1 in 5 businesses that went to market actually sold. Most of the business owners have the majority of their net worth in the company. So if they can't sell their company, they don't have access to that money that they depended on for their retirement or perhaps their next big venture. So that's my mission now, Pete, is to help business owners make their company saleable and increase their money, and to develop a simple methodology to help them do it.
Wonderful. So Tom, thank you for being on the show. Question number 2. What's the best thing about working in your industry?
Well, working in my industry right now is really giving back, helping people. It just gives me a thrill to see business owners get to a point where they can actually sell their company after having worked with so many that couldn't sell because they really didn't have what business buyers wanted. So that's the key to the whole thing. But that's what I enjoy about it is helping people. Now, in addition to that, I'm a driver on Meals on Wheels, and I've also was a mentor in an entrepreneur organization here that helps entrepreneurs. So I'm trying to give back. I've got over 40 plus years of experience in business, and I'm trying to give back, and that's what I enjoy.
That's a wonderful story, and wonderful for you to be given that service, Tom. Question number 3. I hear from other business leaders that staying in a good work-life balance for them and their team members is a challenge. What are your thoughts?
I think that's critical because as I experienced and as I understand you experienced, that stress can be a killer. And when you work too hard and you're just focused on that, you don't enjoy your family. You get really stressed out, and that can really ruin your health. So it's critical to have a balance. Now, when I started out, starting my software company, a specialty, which was my last company, I was working 18 hours a day, and it affected my health. It was very stressful. But once I got on an even keel, I hired good people, I developed good systems, and those two things, if you have good people and good systems in place, you can then have free time to either grow the company or certainly spend more time with your family, but it's a more stress-free environment. And so that's critical. And having a relationship with your family, so you see your children actually grow up and you participate in their activities is really important. I've gone through it. I have 4 wonderful children, and I spend a lot of time with them. And so that balance between work and family is really important.
Couldn't agree with you more. Question number 4. What other business leaders like yourself should be on my podcast?
Well, I think Kathleen Gage would be a wonderful guest for you, and Paul Edwards certainly, and Penny Zinker would be a wonderful guest for you.
Wonderful. I'll reach out to all 3 of them. Appreciate that referral. Question number 5. What insight or advice would you give to other business leaders?
I think the biggest thing I could give them is it's not all about the money. Now, if a public company, which most people don't have a public company, but public companies have a problem because they're so concerned with the short-term earnings. But a private company has more flexibility. And years ago, I worked for a consulting company, and they had a social balance sheet. And this fellow was the owner was sort of the grandfather of a social balance sheet. And they had a daycare center built into the company. And so you could bring your child and leave them at the daycare center, which was right there, and you could visit them anytime you wanted. And it was part of the benefits of working for that company. And I think too, during the slow time, maybe even a recession, if you can hold on to your employees as long as you can, don't just lay them off to increase the profits. Hold on to them, treat them like family. And certainly they'll pay you back for that. But it's really, that's the key, I think. It's not all about the money.
Very sage advice. Question number 6. Tell me about your first job.
My first job, Pete, was in engineering, and I lasted about a year and a half, and I just had my head glued to my project, and I didn't know what was going on even with my own company. I didn't know how sales were. I didn't know how, if we were going to survive the next few months. I just did not know. So I was hanging out with a lot of the salespeople. They were on the second floor. And I used to have lunch with them whenever I could. And I tried to get a sales job with the company I was with, and I had to move to California, and I didn't want to do that. So I left the company and got a sales job, and I had a great district manager who was my immediate boss, and his boss was a great guy, and they would come with me on sales calls occasionally, but they always let me call the shots. They would, they would fine tune whatever I was going to do, but they let me call the shots, and I was really in charge of my territory. And I can remember coming back one day, came home one day, and I said to my wife, I said, I can't believe I'm being paid for this. So much fun. But really, my bosses, my immediate boss and his boss made it possible. They were such great guys. They were, super mentors to me. And it was a great deal of fun. I loved it.
Yeah, it obviously you're showing that what a difference a good manager can make to the happiness of your job.
Absolutely. All the difference in the world.
So Tom, thank you for being on the show. How can people find you?
Well, they can find me on LinkedIn, and they can also find me at exitpros.com, XITPROS.com, and on Facebook or LinkedIn. LinkedIn primarily, though, I would say.
Perfect. Well, this is Professor Pete Alexander with the Winning at Business and Life podcast. For more insights and ideas, please go to LinkedIn, YouTube, or Facebook and search for the Winning at Business and Life podcast. Thanks for listening.